Family pretended they canceled Christmas dinner due to bad weather. Everyone's staying home. Mom texted. But later I spotted their cars parked outside my sister's house where a lively, perfectly decorated holiday bash was in full swing, and when they called the next day, their explanation left me utterly baffled and disappointed. Catherine, everyone's staying indoors because of the ice storm. Christmas dinner is off, stay safe. My mom's text read that way. I stared at my phone in disbelief, but deep down I knew Nashville winters could be treacherous. I never imagined that one simple text would unravel years of hidden family truths and change my life forever. I'm Catherine, 32 years old, an accountant. Up until last Christmas, I thought I was just the odd one out, the quiet, career-driven sister who never quite fit in with our raucous family gatherings. My younger sister Anna was always the golden child, flawless in our parents' eyes. That Christmas morning, I planned for a quiet day alone, hot chocolate in hand, holiday movies on, trying to keep my spirits up despite the loneliness. Around 3 p.m., as I was scrolling through Instagram, my heart sank. There it was, a brand new post from my cousin, showing a picture-perfect family Christmas at Anna's. So blessed to have everyone together, family traditions, Christmas dinner. The snapshot displayed our whole family, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, cousins, and even grandma, all gathered around Anna's beautifully set dining table, smiling in festive sweaters and clearly enjoying themselves. Through the window in the photo, I saw clear blue skies, no trace of an ice storm. My hands trembled as I scrolled through more images, dad carving the turkey, mom arranging her famous cookies, little nieces and nephews tearing into presents. The ice storm excuse was a total fabrication, a convenient lie to hide the truth that I wasn't welcome at their flawless celebration. I felt sick as the reality sank in. All those times they told me events were canceled, the intimate gatherings I never got invited to, how many had happened without me? How long had they been planning my exclusion while pretending to care? The next morning, my phone rang. It was my mother, acting as if nothing was wrong. "Hi honey, hope you had a nice, quiet Christmas. We missed you." Her casual cruelty made my fists clench. This was the turning point, even though I hadn't known it yet. Growing up in our family, I always aimed to be the good daughter. I helped my mom with chores, maintained straight A's, and even gave up my dream of art school to become an accountant because my parents insisted it was practical. Meanwhile, Anna could do whatever she pleased. Dropping out of college to become a yoga instructor earned her the label, brave, while my overtime work to help pay off the mortgage was barely acknowledged. I remember a specific incident from 3 years ago when my dad needed surgery. I took 3 weeks off to care for him, cooking, cleaning, driving him to appointments, managing his meds. Anna showed up once, stayed for an hour taking selfies for social media, then left, claiming she had a yoga retreat. Yet somehow, in my parents' retelling, Anna was the caring daughter while I was barely doing enough. My extended family wasn't much better. Every gathering, my aunts praised Anna's free spirit while questioning when I'd learned to have some fun. My career accomplishments were dismissed as dull, yet Anna's latest adventure teaching yoga in Bali was the hot topic at every dinner. I kept telling myself it didn't matter because family was family, and they loved me in their own way. Even last month, I spent hours helping mom prepare for Thanksgiving, only to hear her tell everyone that Anna did all the work while I just sat around. I swallowed my pain, staying silent as always. When Anna announced she'd host Christmas that year, I offered to help with the planning and cooking. She brushed me off, saying she wanted it perfect. I should have seen the warning signs then, but I was too caught up in believing in the fiction of our happy family. The truth is, I'd spent my whole life trying to win their approval, making excuses for their behavior, and ignoring when they left me out of spontaneous family gatherings that everyone else knew about. I convinced myself that if I worked harder, stayed later, and gave more, they'd finally see me as worthy of their perfect family portrait. "Hi honey, hope you had a nice, quiet Christmas. We missed you." My mother's fake cheer made my stomach churn as I gripped my phone tighter, staring at the Instagram photo still open on my laptop, proof of the celebration I was deliberately excluded from. Somehow, I kept my voice steady when I asked, barely a whisper, "How many other gatherings have you lied about?" The silence on the other end was deafening. I could almost picture my mother's face, caught in a lie, but already preparing her excuses. "Oh well," she stammered. "Anna organized it last minute, and you know how you can be at gatherings, always so quiet and making everyone uneasy. We just thought it was easier to lie than have you spend Christmas alone while pretending everyone else was too." "Don't be so dramatic," she sighed. "We were trying to avoid awkwardness. You know Anna wanted everything perfect." That's when it hit me. All those canceled events, the mysteriously fallen through plans, the family photos on social media. This wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern. I asked, voice trembling, "How many times have you lied to me?" The silence said it all. "Catherine, you're being oversensitive. We love you both equally." It's just that Anna makes an effort, and you're always so busy with work. Busy with work? I laughed bitterly. You mean busy helping pay the mortgage, busy taking care of Dad after his surgery, that kind of busy. My mother's tone grew stern. If you're going to be like this, maybe we need some space. Call me when you're ready to be reasonable. Then the line went dead. I sat there, staring at my phone, as 32 years of memories condensed into a sharp, painful focus. Every excuse, every dismissal, every misunderstanding had been deliberate. I wasn't the problem, I never had been. That was the moment I stopped making excuses. The moment I finally saw the truth. I didn't have a family. I had people who shared my DNA, but treated me like an afterthought. After that call, something inside snapped. I was done being the doormat. I opened my laptop and began typing an email to everyone, parents, sister, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone who had attended that Christmas dinner. My fingers flew over the keyboard as years of pent-up feelings poured out. I've seen the photos from Christmas dinner. The dinner you claimed was canceled due to an imaginary ice storm. I want you all to know exactly what you've done. You didn't just exclude me from a family gathering, you orchestrated an elaborate lie to make me spend Christmas alone. I attached screenshots of Mom's stay home, everyone's doing the same, texts alongside the social media photos of their celebration. I hit send. Before I could overthink it, the replies started pouring in almost instantly. Aunt Marie insisted they'd neglected to mention that the plans had changed, while Uncle Robert claimed I was making a mountain out of a molehill. Then my cousin Na, whose posts had once uncovered their deceit, swiftly erased all the Christmas photos and shot me a message accusing me of creating needless drama. Soon after, Anna fired off a lengthy, patronizing email, complaining that I never put in any effort at family gatherings and that she'd only ever wanted one flawless holiday. She even had the nerve to suggest that keeping me out was actually for my own benefit, because apparently I don't enjoy family get-togethers. But it was my parents' reaction that really revealed their true colors. Instead of apologizing, they attacked. My mother began calling our mutual family friends, concocting a story that I was having some kind of breakdown, while my father sent a stern email about respecting family privacy and how airing our dirty laundry was simply unacceptable. You've really done it now, Anna texted, adding that Mom was in tears. Everyone was upset, and it was all my fault for not accepting that maybe I was the problem. This was exactly why they decided not to invite me at Christmas. I felt as if I were living in an alternate reality, one where they deliberately excluded and deceived me, yet somehow I became the villain for exposing their behavior. The more I stood my ground, the more they twisted the narrative. When I refused to back down and apologize, things escalated. My mother began showing up unannounced at my workplace, causing scenes in the lobby, while Anna posted cryptic social media updates about toxic people and choosing peace over family. My father even threatened to cut me out of his will if I didn't toe the line. Rather than intimidating me, these actions only confirmed what I'd finally realized. This wasn't a caring family protecting itself from a difficult member. It was a toxic system desperately clinging to control over someone who'd just stopped playing by their rules. That's when I knew I had to do more than just expose their lies. I had to break free from their manipulation entirely. Little did they know, I was already hatching a plan that would show them exactly what happens when you push away the one person who's always been there for them. A week after sending my confrontational email, I got an unexpected message from Rachel, an old family friend who'd managed my parents' finances years ago before retiring. Catherine, I've been watching what's happening with your family on social media. There's something you need to know, can we meet? I agreed to meet her at a quiet cafe downtown. When I arrived, Rachel looked anxious, clutching a manila envelope. I've carried this guilt for years, she said as she slid the envelope across the table. Your father made me swear secrecy, but after seeing how they're treating you, I can't stay silent any longer. Inside the envelope were bank statements and legal documents dating back 15 years. My hands began to tremble as I read through them. According to these records, my grandfather had set aside a substantial inheritance, nearly $300,000, for my education and future, money I'd never known existed. Your father was the trustee, Rachel explained quietly. He was meant to release it to you when you turned 25, but instead, he transferred everything to Anna's accounts to fund her lifestyle and failed business ventures. The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. All those years of overtime to pay for my accounting degree, the student loans I was still repaying, the times I helped with their mortgage, the money had been sitting there, squandered on Anna. There's more, Rachel continued. Your grandfather also left properties meant to be divided equally between you and Anna, but your parents sold them all using that power of attorney you signed at 18. Remember when they said it was for emergency medical decisions? I felt sick. The document I had trusted had given them complete control over my finances. They had methodically robbed me of my inheritance, all while watching me struggle, accepting their help with expenses, and making me feel guilty for not contributing enough to the family. Even worse, the statements revealed regular transfers to Anna labeled as business investments, money taken from my inheritance to fund her yoga studios, her retreats in Bali, and all the adventures they showered her with praise for, all while belittling my boring accounting career. Why tell me now? I asked Rachel, my voice barely steady. Because I saw your mother's social media posts painting you as unstable and ungrateful. They're trying to discredit you before you can uncover the truth. They've been embezzling from you for years, Catherine. What they've done isn't just morally wrong, it's illegal. Everything suddenly made terrible sense. The escalating attempts to paint me as unreasonable, the threats to cut me out of the will even after they'd already stolen my inheritance. The desperate need to preserve the narrative that Anna was the successful one while I was the difficult one. I carefully repacked the documents into the envelope, my mind racing. Thank you, Rachel. I know exactly what to do now. This wasn't just about a ruined Christmas anymore. It was about years of calculated deception and theft. And as an accountant with years of experience tracking financial fraud, I was uniquely positioned to make them answer for their actions. With Rachel's documents in hand, I spent the next week meticulously building my case. I tracked every unauthorized transfer, every misuse of power of attorney, every fraudulent document. I even hired Sarah Chin, a lawyer specializing in estate fraud, to review everything. This is a clear case of financial exploitation, Sarah confirmed. We can file criminal charges if you want to pursue that route. I weighed my options carefully. A criminal case would ruin my family's reputation, but they had already destroyed our relationship. Still, I decided to give them one last chance to make things right. I emailed my parents and Anna, requesting a family meeting to resolve our differences. They jumped at the opportunity, probably thinking they could manipulate me back into line. We agreed to meet at my apartment the following Saturday. On the morning of the meeting, I arranged 3 folders on my dining table, one for each of them. Inside each folder was a complete record of their fraud, along with a letter from my lawyer outlining their options, either return all remaining funds to me and sign a confession, or face criminal charges. They arrived looking smug, clearly expecting me to apologize. My mother began immediately, Catherine, we're so glad you've come to your senses. I cut her off by sliding the folders across the table. Before anyone says another word, I suggest you read these. The color drained from my father's face as he scanned the documents. Anna's hands began to shake, and my mother tried desperately to regain control. This is ridiculous, she protested. You're trying to blackmail your own family, blackmail. I laughed coldly. I'm giving you a choice. Either return my inheritance with interest and confess what you've done, or I'll let the police handle it. Rachel has already agreed to testify. Rachel had no right, and my father started it. You had no right either. I interrupted. You've been stealing from me for years while watching me struggle. You used my power of attorney to sell property that belonged to me, and you funded Anna's lifestyle. With my inheritance. Anna burst into tears. I didn't know. They said the money came from their savings. Don't lie, I replied calmly. The transfers went directly into your accounts. You knew exactly what you were doing. My mother tried a different approach. Think about what this will do to the family. What will people say? You should have considered that before stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from your own daughter. I responded, you have 48 hours to decide. Either sign the confession and arrange the transfers, or I'm calling the police. They left in a panic, my father practically dragging my hysterical mother and sister out the door. Within hours, the family group chat exploded with messages from relatives taking sides. I remained calm, knowing I had truth and evidence on my side. The ball was in their court. I told Sarah over the phone that evening. Something told me they weren't going to choose wisely. I was ready for whatever came next. After all, they had already given me the greatest gift, freedom from their manipulation. The 48-hour deadline came and went just as I expected. My family chose pride over honesty. They didn't sign the confession or arrange any transfers. Instead, they tried to destroy evidence, closing accounts, shredding documents, and even pressuring Rachel to retract her statement. What they didn't know was that I had already submitted everything to the authorities. The morning after the deadline passed, I formally filed charges. By the afternoon, the police were at their doors with search warrants. I watched from my office as the story unfolded. My father was escorted from his workplace in handcuffs, Anna's yoga studio was seized as an asset bought with stolen money, and my mother's carefully curated social media image crumbled when she was arrested during one of her charity meetings. The family group chat exploded again, but this time with a different tone. Relatives who had dismissed my claims were suddenly silent as the evidence became public record. The local newspaper ran a story about the prominent family's fall from grace. Years of perfect appearances ended in a single day. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. You did the right thing. Your grandfather would be proud. She was right. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about justice. As I watched my family's carefully constructed lies unravel, I felt no joy, only relief. The truth was finally out, and I was free. 1 year later, I sat in my new home in Denver, watching snow fall outside my window. The court case had wrapped up months ago. My father and mother both took plea deals and agreed to pay restitution. Anna's yoga empire had collapsed, and she finally landed a real job as a receptionist. The perfect family image they'd worked so hard to maintain was gone forever. Most of the relatives who had enabled their behavior for years stopped speaking to me, but surprisingly, I didn't miss them. Instead, I built a new support system. Genuine friends who valued honesty over appearances, colleagues who respected my work ethic, and even a few distant cousins who reached out to apologize for their past behavior. Rachel visited me last week. Over coffee, she handed me an old photo album she'd found while cleaning out her office. Inside were pictures of my grandfather and me, moments I had almost forgotten. In one photo, he was teaching me to fish. We were laughing at something long past. He always said, "You're the strong one." Rachel mentioned that he knew they favored Anna, but he believed I would rise above it. I touched the photo gently, remembering his kind smile. He had tried to secure my future with that inheritance, and though it took years, his final gift gave me something more valuable than money, the courage to stand up for myself and the freedom to build a life on my own terms. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting free.